I want to tell you what coming home from war actually looked like for me. We landed in Texas after 2 days in the air. Leadership met us with handshakes, pats on the back, put us on buses, drove us to the stadium, filed us out onto the field in formation, the way soldiers do. The bleachers were packed, and as I looked there, hundreds of families were in the bleachers, wives and husbands and kids and parents, all rushing down to find their one person. I stood there in that formation and I watched this all happen. Not one person came for me, not one. I had to hitchhike home with women I didn't even know. And to this day, nobody in my family has ever said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry, babe. I just kept soldiering though. And that's what you do. You keep moving. You don't talk about it. You drink a lot. You feel nobody cares. And eventually you get so good at surviving that you forget you were ever supposed to heal. You don't have to pretend here on this channel with me today. It's okay to say you're not okay with me. You're going to hear me say that a lot. I'm William Gill, and I welcome you to Rescue the One. Today, I want to talk about something most men, myself included, have spent years confusing: surviving and healing. They, they look the same on the outside. They don't feel the same on the inside. And so, what I know is a man who is surviving shows up to work. He goes to work, leads meetings, handles whatever's in front of him, you know. He keeps it together, right? No matter what. But then he goes home. And we know once the lights are low at night, when nobody's watching, he drinks too much. He becomes numb. He's angry without knowing why. He's carrying something he's never once put down. And it's not because he's weak, but because nobody ever told him he was allowed to put it down. And you know what? That was me for a long, long time. I came home from Desert Storm in 1991. It was a 7 months of seeing death and destruction, and not a single soul was standing in that stadium for me. No apology, no explanation, just silence. I did what soldiers do. I kept moving. I got promoted. I took on leadership roles. I kept drinking a lot, of course. I kept showing up. Had affairs that broke my marriage. I walked to a church that made things worse, and they called it faith. Got reassigned to Kuwait, came back again, kept going through all of it. I looked like I was handling it. But this is what I know. I wasn't handling it at all. And you're probably not handling it. I was surviving it. And brother, I want you all to know tonight, those that you are tuning in, there is a difference between the two. So what is the difference? Surviving is endurance. It's pushing through the next day. Surviving says, if I just keep going, it'll get better. And sometimes, you know what? It does get better. You make it to the next season, but you know what? This is what I know. The wound. There's still the wound. What about the wound? The wound comes with you. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm a product of the product, and here's what I've learned firsthand. Unhealed wounds, they don't disappear. They disguise themselves. They become control. They become anger. They become isolation. They become the reason you can't stay close to anyone, even the people who love you the most. I spent, listen, years thinking I was strong because I kept functioning. I was functioning all right, but I was falling apart on the inside. Men's mental health isn't something we often talk about. Not really, not honestly. We're taught early, hold it together, don't show it, push through it. Boys don't cry. Get up, shake yourself off. Why are you crying? And that teaching, as well-intentioned as it sometimes is, it has buried too many men alive. It doesn't work. And, you know, it's not good. Healing is something different. Healing requires you to stop and say out loud, something happened to me. It's still affecting me, and I cannot heal what I will not acknowledge. That sentence changed my life. Here's where faith comes in for me. Not to preach to you or anything like that, but because the truth is the thing I know. Psalm 147:3 says, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Not manages, not tolerates, not just gets you through them. God heals. There's a man watching this right now who has been managing his wounds for a long, long, long time. He doesn't even remember what it felt like before them. I want you to hear this tonight. You're not broken. You're wounded. And wounds can heal. Wounds can heal, but not in isolation, not in silence, not by soldiering past them like they're not there. They heal when you bring them into the light. Let me tell you about the moment I stopped surviving and started healing. It didn't happen fast. I want to be clear about that because it happened after years of wrong turns, after the church that taxed my family and called it righteousness, after the medications, after the therapy sessions, after the PTSD diagnosis, depression, symptoms of bipolarism, after 24 years in the Army, retiring, and still not knowing who I was or what I was worth, after being pulled into a cult type faith that stole more than it gave, after all of that, I ended up in one room and I got on my knees. I didn't have to prepare a long prayer or anything like that. I didn't have a plan. I was just done, tired in a way that sleep couldn't fix. And I said out loud to God, fix me, or I will just drift through whatever is left of this life. In that room, I felt many things. I felt sorrow, real sorrow. I felt shame and grief and regret. And for the first time in a very long time, I stopped pushing it down. I stopped sidestepping it. I felt it. That was the beginning of my healing. Not the end of hard days. Not, hey, listen, I still have them, I'll be honest with you. I still have moments where I don't feel good enough, smart enough, accepted, even now, even in my own church. But I'm not surviving anymore. I'm healing. And there is a difference, a big difference, a big, big difference. And I want you to understand this. And there's an action step I have for you tonight. Not a long list of things. I'm not going to give you a list. I'm going to give you one thing. Tonight, before you close your eyes, get still and name it. Name one thing you have been surviving. That one thing that you haven't admitted is still hurting you. You don't have to tell anyone. You don't have to fix it tonight. You don't need a plan. Just name it. Write it down. Say it out loud in an empty room because you cannot heal what you will not acknowledge. And if you don't know who to say it to God. He's been waiting longer than you know to hear from you. And if you're ready to take a next step, I'll leave a link in the description below. It's called REBOOT Recovery. It's where men like us do this work together. You don't have to figure this out alone, you know. You're not alone. You're not alone. I started this channel because I know what it's like to stand in a stadium full of people and feel completely alone. I know what it's like to sit in a church surrounded by faith and still feel like you're failing. And so I know what it's like to function on the outside while falling apart on the inside. And that man has a name. And you know what? He's not weak. He's wounded. And he is welcome here on this channel with my group because I want to help him. You see, you don't have to pretend here. You don't have to pretend like you're okay. It's okay to say, hey, I'm not okay. Take the mask off. And so if this reached something in you, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Subscribe, share it with a man who needs to hear it, and understand you will never walk alone again. This is Rescue the One. We'll see you in the next video.